It's all the same, just a little bit different. Okay. So really quickly, let's talk about how to do a confidence interval for these things. But I'm going to do a confidence interval based on the numbers we have, so the problem is already half done, in fact. So the confidence interval for P is P hat plus or minus Z times sigma P hat. So what's our confidence interval formula for the difference of proportions? Right. Instead of proportion, you just write difference of proportions. So it's P1 hat minus P2 hat. In fact, let me make that a little clearer. I'm just going to set that off like this. P1 hat minus P2 hat plus or minus Z times sigma for P1 hat minus P2 hat. So let's find the 95% confidence interval for the difference using the data we just had. So how do we do that? Well, we have our formula for the confidence interval. P1 hat minus P2 hat plus or minus Z times sigma P1 hat minus P2 hat. Now, do we know P1 hat minus P2 hat? Yeah, we sure do. That was 0.0399 plus or minus. Do we have our Z-score?
Yeah. Oh, no, we don't.
Right, we need to figure it out from what? Well, you know what, we'll come back to that.
From the 0.95.
Yes. So we'll come back to the Z. Do we have our sigma?
Yeah.
And what was it? 0.0139. So the only thing we need to find is the Z. How do we find the Z-score? And what goes on the picture?
0.95 the middle, and 0.025. Then you got the 0 in the middle.
Right. And so for Z you have 0 in the middle, and then how do we find the Z-score? How do we find the Z-score?
0.025 of the area.
Right. The area is 0.025. And the answer should look familiar. 1.96. And there's the Z value. And now it's just arithmetic. 0.0399 plus minus. Let's figure out what this. Oh. And this is 0.0272 when you multiply it. And then you add and subtract. And you get 0.0127. And 0.0671. And that's your 95% confidence interval. So again, notice that it's all the same, it's just a little bit different. So hopefully that makes it better. But the trick is just to keep track of what kind of problem you're dealing with and how the formula goes and what are the slight differences that you need to follow. Okay.